Your brain is not failing to sleep. It is refusing. And the reason may be stranger than stress, caffeine, or your phone. Every night, you climb into bed and expect your brain to disappear. But your brain has one ancient job. It has to decide whether the dark is safe. If the answer is no, it will keep you awake. Even if you are exhausted, even if your eyes burn, even if tomorrow morning is already starting to look like a crime scene. So, the trick is not to force sleep. That almost never works. The trick is to convince your brain that nothing important is happening. No danger, no problem to solve, no reason to keep the guard awake. Can you really trick a brain into falling asleep faster? Yes, but not by yelling at it. The cruel part is that sleep uses a paradox. The more you chase it, the more awake you become. That is why one thought can ruin an entire night. You check the clock. You calculate. If I sleep now, I get 6 hours. Then 5. Then 4. Then your bed stops feeling like a bed and starts feeling like a countdown timer. Your body may be tired, but your brain has detected a threat. Not a wolf. Not a rival tribe. A number on a screen. But the brain does not care whether the threat is ancient or modern. It only asks one question. Should I stay alert? This is why sleep advice often fails when it sounds too simple. Turn off your phone. Relax. Just breathe. Those things can help, but only if they change the signal your brain is reading. Your brain does not fall asleep because you ordered it to. It falls asleep when several systems agree that it is safe to shut down. One system tracks light. One system tracks pressure to sleep. One system tracks danger. One system tracks habit. And one very annoying system keeps replaying every awkward thing you said in 2017. So if you want to fall asleep faster, you do not need one magic button. You need to stop feeding the wake-up machine. Start with the oldest signal, light. Deep inside your brain is a tiny master clock called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. That name sounds like a spell, but it is basically your internal timekeeper. It listens to light through your eyes. When bright light hits the system, especially blue-rich light in the evening, your brain gets a daytime message. Stay up. Look around. The world is still active. Researchers like Charles Chisler have spent decades showing how strongly light can shift human circadian timing. That is the rhythm that tells your body when night should feel like night. So when you stare into a bright screen in bed, you are not just looking at entertainment. You are whispering sunrise into your skull. Then you wonder why the brain refuses to power down. But darkness alone is not enough. Your brain also needs sleep pressure. During the day, a chemical called adenosine gradually builds up. You can think of it as a tiny sleep debt meter. The longer you are awake, the stronger the pressure becomes. Caffeine works partly by blocking that signal. It does not erase the debt. It just puts tape over the warning light. That is why a late coffee can feel innocent at dinner and then become a full legal case at midnight. Your body is tired. Your adenosine is waiting. But the brain cannot read the message clearly. So the first trick is boring but powerful. Do not keep sending daytime chemicals at night. Now comes the part almost nobody wants to hear. Your bed may have learned the wrong job. In the 1970s, psychologist Richard Boutsen helped develop stimulus control for insomnia. The idea is simple. Your brain learns associations. If the bed is where you sleep, it becomes a sleep cue. If the bed is where you scroll, worry, argue, work, watch videos, and stare at the ceiling feeling doomed, it becomes something else. It becomes a wake cue. That is brutal. The same mattress that should make you sleepy can start telling your nervous system to prepare for a fight. So one of the most effective tricks is not mystical at all. Protect the bed's meaning. Bed equals sleep. Not problem solving. Not life review. Not revenge planning. Not checking whether you are sleepy every 12 seconds. This is why many insomnia treatments tell people not to stay in bed awake for too long. It sounds backwards. If you cannot sleep, should you not stay there and try harder? But trying harder teaches the brain that bed is a place where wakefulness happens. So the move is to get out of bed, keep lights low, do something quiet and dull, and return when sleepiness comes back. Not exciting. Not productive. Dull. Because dull is a message. Nothing important is happening here. No mission, no emergency, no reward. Just night. But what if your problem is not the bed? What if your problem is your thoughts? This is where the best sleep trick becomes almost ridiculous. Make your thoughts useless. Not positive. Not meaningful. Useless. When your brain is anxious, it loves sequences. One thought connects to the next. Tomorrow's meeting connects to money. Money connects to rent. Rent connects to the future. The future connects to death. And suddenly you are horizontal, under a blanket, conducting a full investigation into existence. The brain stays awake because the thoughts feel important. So you interrupt the chain. One method is sometimes called cognitive shuffling or serial diverse imagining, associated with researcher Luc Baudouin. The basic idea is to feed your mind random, low-emotion images that do not form a story. Apple, chair, cloud, spoon, ladder, fish, door. Not a plot, not a plan. Just little disconnected images. Your brain tries to follow them, but there is nothing to solve. That matters. The waking brain loves logic. The dreaming brain loves fragments. So, by giving the mind harmless fragments, you may nudge it toward a dreamlike mode. It is not a magic spell. It is not guaranteed, but it has the right shape. It removes meaning. And for an overactive brain, meaning is fuel. You can do it in a simple way. Pick a word with no emotional charge. Maybe table. Take the first letter, T. Picture things that start with T. Tree, toast, turtle, ticket. Then move to A, apple, ant, anchor, apron. Each image should appear for a second or two. No story, no judging, no need to be good at it. If you accidentally start planning your taxes, gently return to random objects. The point is not concentration. The point is boring the problem-solving machine until it stops asking for the next clue. Another trick is to give the body a safety signal. Slow breathing can help because breathing is one of the few automatic systems you can also control on purpose. When breathing slows, the body can shift away from emergency mode. Not because oxygen is magic, because the pattern says, I am not running. I am not fighting. I am not hiding from something immediate. Some people use longer exhales. Some people use a body scan. Some tense and release their muscles. The details matter less than the message. The body is allowed to stand down. If you turn the technique into a performance test, it can backfire. Am I relaxed yet? Is this working? Why am I still awake? That turns the safety signal into another exam. And the brain loves exams at the worst possible time. Temperature is another hidden lever. Before sleep, your body tends to lower its core temperature. Warm hands and feet can help move heat outward. That is why a warm shower before bed can make some people sleepy after the shower ends. The warmth is not the whole trick. The cooling afterward is part of the signal. Your brain reads the body drifting downward. Night is arriving. The system is changing state. This is also why a room that is too hot can feel strangely hostile. You are tired, but the body cannot make the normal drop easily. The brain notices. It keeps the lights on inside. Routine is the least exciting trick, which is why it is easy to underestimate. The brain loves patterns. If the same sequence happens most nights, dim room, quiet body, boring book, low light, no urgent decisions, the brain starts predicting what comes next. Sleep becomes less like a command and more like a familiar hallway. This is why a bedtime routine does not need to be impressive. It needs to be repeatable. 5 calm minutes can be better than a complicated ritual you only do twice. The ancient brain does not need a perfect wellness routine. It needs a consistent signal. The day is ending. The tribe is quiet. No one is asking you to solve tomorrow yet. There is also a sneaky trap called the perfect sleep identity. Once you decide you must become a perfect sleeper, every night becomes a scorecard. Did I dim the lights correctly? Did I breathe correctly? Did I start early enough? Did I ruin everything by thinking about sleep? That kind of self-monitoring is just worry wearing pajamas. It keeps the same old guard awake under a new name. So the trick has to stay gentle. You are not building a courtroom. You are lowering the temperature of the whole system. If one step fails, nothing dramatic has happened. You simply return to the signal. Dark, dull, safe, unimportant. And this explains why different people need different versions of the same trick. For one person, the biggest signal is light. For another, it is caffeine. For another, it is the bed becoming a worry arena. For another, it is a brain that starts writing a 10-part disaster series the moment the room gets quiet. The method changes, but the logic is the same. Find the signal that says stay awake. Reduce it. Then add a signal that says stand down. Not all at once. Not perfectly. Just enough that the brain stops treating the night like a meeting. Now look at the worst thing you can do after all this. Check the time. The clock is a tiny panic machine. It turns sleep into math. And math is not sleepy. Once you calculate how little time remains, your brain sees a deadline. Deadlines are for waking up. So if you want to trick the brain, hide the clock from your eyes. Let the alarm exist. Do not let it negotiate with you every 20 minutes. You do not need a courtroom update on your failure to sleep. You need fewer reasons to monitor yourself. There is also a deeper reason this works. Falling asleep is not just losing consciousness. It is giving up control. During the day, control feels useful. At night, control can become the cage. You cannot command yourself into unconsciousness the way you command a hand to close. Sleep arrives when command softens. That is why the most effective tricks often look indirect. Dim the light. Protect the bed. Make thoughts random. Slow the body. Cool the room. Stop checking the clock. None of these says, sleep now. They all say, there is nothing here worth staying awake for. But there is one important warning. If you regularly cannot sleep, if you wake up gasping, if your sleep is destroying your daytime life, or if you rely on alcohol or pills just to get through the night, this is not a puzzle for a video to solve. That is medical territory. Insomnia, sleep apnea, restless legs, pain, anxiety, depression, medication effects, and shift work can all change the rules. The trick is useful only when the problem is an alert brain, bad cues, and a system that needs help standing down. It is not a replacement for real care. So, tonight, do not try to beat your brain. That is the trap. The part of you trying to win is the part keeping score. Instead, make wakefulness less rewarding. Make the room darker. Make the bed mean sleep again. Make your thoughts boring and broken. Make your body feel safe. Let the night become small. Let the problems wait outside the door. Your brain is not failing to sleep. It is refusing. But when the world becomes dark, dull, safe, and not worth solving, the guard finally has permission to leave.